Scorpio, listen to me for a moment and really breathe this in. You are not imagining this strange tension you've been feeling, that quiet restlessness in your chest, the sudden urge to change your surroundings, the way certain people feel more distant and certain dreams feel louder than ever. None of that is random. This is what it feels like when the universe starts rearranging your path. And as December opens before you, it is not just another page on the calendar. It is a turning point, a spiritual rerouting, a month where what used to make sense begins to fall apart, so that what truly belongs to you can finally take shape. You didn't click on this by accident. You were drawn here at this exact moment because something in your soul already knows. December will not let you stay where you've been. Think back on the last weeks or months, Scorpio. How many times have you said to yourself, I can't keep living like this? How often have you felt like you're too big for the life you're in, like you've grown on the inside but your outer world hasn't caught up yet? The universe has heard every one of those silent conversations. It has watched you hold on to situations that drained you, shrink yourself to keep the peace, pretend you were fine while something inside you was quietly breaking. December is where that pretending stops. When the universe rearranges your path, it doesn't start with loud miracles, it starts with discomfort. The job that once felt good enough begins to feel suffocating. The relationship that once felt exciting now feels heavy. The city, the routine, the habits that kept you numb suddenly feel too small, like clothes that no longer fit. That pressure you feel is not punishment, it's spiritual growth pressing against old limits. For a sign like you, ruled by depth, transformation, and truth, this kind of season is both terrifying and sacred. You can sense change long before it arrives. Your intuition has probably been whispering for a while now. Something is coming. You've noticed the signs, repeating numbers, songs that hit you in the gut, dreams that feel more like messages than random images, that sudden emotional wave that appears out of nowhere when you think about your future. In December, those whispers turn into clear signals. You might notice conversations that feel like they're speaking directly to your soul. A video pops up and says exactly what you needed to hear. A door closes unexpectedly, and although your mind panics, something deep inside you exhales and says, "Finally." That is how the universe rearranges your path. It starts by turning down the volume on what no longer aligns, and turning up the volume on what your soul cannot ignore anymore. In December, it's not just about external events. It's about realignment at every level. Emotionally, you'll be invited to release stories you've carried for years. The belief that you always have to fight alone, that you must earn love by suffering, that stability only comes through struggle. Spiritually, you may feel more sensitive than usual. You might cry more, feel easily overwhelmed, or experience deep moments of peace out of nowhere. This is your nervous system recalibrating, your energy field clearing space for a different way of living. Mentally, new ideas will begin to form, visions of a life that actually reflects who you are now, not who you were when you first learned to survive. This month is less about December itself and more about what December unlocks. It's like a cosmic hallway, not the final destination, but the passage that leads you there. One of the clearest signs that the universe is rearranging your path is this: things that were barely working stop working altogether. The situations you've been tolerating, relationships built on imbalance, environments that exhaust you, obligations that no longer resonate, will start to crack. You might misinterpret this at first as everything going wrong, but look closer. The door that closed might have been the door that kept you small. The friend who drifted away may have been holding you in an older version of yourself. The opportunity that didn't work out might have been too limited for where you're actually meant to go. December is not trying to take things from you. It's trying to take what was never meant to stay. You are not being abandoned. You are being rerouted. This rearrangement can also show up as sudden clarity. You wake up one morning and realize, with a calm certainty, I can't keep betraying myself just to avoid conflict. You feel a strong urge to clean out your space, to delete old messages, to say no where you used to say yes. You might feel drawn to learn something new, to explore a path you always pushed aside as unrealistic. That pull is not random curiosity, it's guidance. The universe rarely shouts, it nudges, it repeats, it sends the same messages through different people and different situations until you finally recognize the pattern. December is when the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. And yes, Scorpio, you might feel resistance. Part of you wants change, but another part is terrified of losing what little security you've built. You might ask yourself, what if I let go and nothing better comes? This is where your old conditioning will fight the hardest. The universe isn't asking you to throw your entire life into chaos. It's asking you to tell the truth, to admit where you're unhappy, to acknowledge where you've stayed out of fear instead of love, to recognize where you've been dimming your light to make others comfortable. December will bring you moments where you're standing at an invisible crossroads. Stay in the known discomfort, or take a step into the unknown that your soul keeps pointing at. The rearranging happens through your choices, one small, brave decision at a time. You may also experience what feels like spiritual labor pains. Before a major shift, things often intensify. Miscommunications arise, old wounds surface, conflicts you thought you were done with suddenly flare up again. This doesn't mean you're going backwards. It means the universe is bringing the last residues of those patterns to the surface so you can finally see them clearly and choose differently. December is likely to spotlight specific themes, where you give too much and receive too little, where you settle for roles that are beneath your true capacity, where you abandon your own needs to avoid being abandoned by others. Each trigger, each emotional wave, is an invitation to stop repeating the old story and start writing a new one. And your path rearranges. You might notice shifts in how you relate to your dreams and goals. Things you once chased desperately may no longer hold the same appeal. Instead of running after what looks shiny, you'll feel pulled toward what feels true. There's a big difference between chasing validation and following your calling. December gently pushes you from the first into the second. You may suddenly realize that your true success isn't about impressing anyone. It's about living in a way that makes your spirit feel alive and at peace. The universe isn't trying to push you into a life that looks good from the outside, but feels empty on the inside. It's trying to guide you into a life where your outer world finally reflects your inner truth. On a practical level, December might bring you small, tangible opportunities that are easy to overlook if you're only searching for big, dramatic signs. A new connection, a message, a random invitation, a job lead, a mentor, a book recommendation. These are all pieces of the rearranged path. Pay attention to what lights up your body. Notice the conversations that leave you feeling inspired instead of drained. Notice where your energy expands, not just where your mind says, this is logical. Your intuition is your compass now. When the universe rearranges your path, logic alone is not enough. You are asked to blend inner knowing with grounded action, to trust your gut, but also follow through in the physical world. December is also a month for sacred boundaries. You cannot step into a rearranged path while dragging your old burdens with you. There will be calls you don't need to answer, arguments you don't need to engage in, invitations you can decline without guilt. This isn't about being cold, it's about being clear. Your energy is precious, and this month asks you to invest it where it nourishes your future instead of feeding your old wounds. You may shock some people when you begin to honor your limits. The ones who only loved you for your compliance will call it selfishness. The ones who truly care about your well-being will call it growth. Let their reactions reveal who's meant to walk with you into this next chapter. You might also feel a deeper connection to the unseen this month. Even if you don't follow a specific religion, there is a sense of being held, of being guided, of not walking alone. Whether you call it God, the universe, source, your higher self, ancestors, or simply life itself, that presence will feel closer in December. You may find yourself talking to the sky, to the night, to your own heart more often. Keep doing it. That conversation is part of the rearranging. The more honest you are in those quiet moments, the more clearly life can respond. You will notice subtle confirmations, a phrase you needed to hear, a peaceful sensation when you make a difficult decision, a sense of relief when you let something go. This is how alignment feels. Not always easy, but increasingly right. In this month, Scorpio, your identity is being refined. You are being invited to see yourself not as the wounded one who always survives, but as the powerful one who now chooses. You've carried so much. You've stayed when you should have walked away. You've kept promises to people who broke every promise to you. You've swallowed your truth to keep relationships intact that were already crumbling. December is your moment to say, I honor everything that shaped me, but I will not let it define me anymore. The universe isn't erasing your history, it's reframing it. The struggles weren't proof that you are cursed. They were training for the level of clarity and strength you are stepping into now. You may feel an urge to physically rearrange your space, cleaning, moving furniture, getting rid of old objects, updating your environment. Don't underestimate this. When the universe rearranges your path, it often starts with you rearranging your room, your desk, your phone, your wardrobe. Clearing clutter creates openings, not just on the outside, but inside your mind. As you release items tied to old versions of you, you send a clear, energetic message. I am ready to live differently. This doesn't mean you throw away everything. It means you become intentional. Ask yourself, does this support who I am becoming or who I used to be? Let December be the month where your outer environment begins to match your inner evolution. There will also be a gentle but firm invitation to forgive. Not in a way that excuses harm, but in a way that unhooks your heart from the past. Forgiveness, in this context, doesn't mean saying what happened was okay. It means deciding that you will no longer let what happened be the main architect of your future. The universe is rearranging your path forward, not rewriting your past. It can't change what was done, but it can change what those moments mean for you now. December offers you a chance to reclaim your power, to say, yes, this hurt me, yes, it changed me, and now I choose what I do with that pain. Transformation has always been your secret language. This month, you don't just survive the story, you author the next chapter. As all of this unfolds, it's important to remember something essential. What you're hearing now is not a rigid prophecy carved in stone. It is more like a mirror held up to one possible path. a reflection of energies many Scorpios may be feeling as they move through this time. You are not being told what must happen. You are being invited to notice what is already stirring within you. Think of this message as a gentle thought experiment for your soul, a story about one way the universe might rearrange your path if you choose to align with your deepest truth. If these words resonate, let them encourage you and strengthen your courage. If they don't, it's perfectly okay to let them pass through you like a passing cloud in a December sky. Not every message is for every heart, and your own inner guidance will always be the highest authority in your life. This narrative is not a substitute for professional, medical, mental health, legal, or financial advice. It is not here to replace your decisions or your free will. It is here to remind you of something you already know at a quiet level, that you are allowed to grow, to change direction, to outgrow versions of your life that no longer feel true. The universe rearranges, yes, but you co-create. Nothing moves without your participation, your choices, your boundaries, your willingness to listen to your intuition. That is where the real power lives. So as December unfolds, Scorpio, walk with a different kind of awareness. When something leaves, ask, what is this making room for? When something arrives, ask, does this feel like expansion or contraction? When your body tightens, breathe and listen. When your heart softens, trust that too. You are not being thrown into chaos. You are being escorted into alignment. The universe is not against you. It is on your side, even when it allows things to fall apart. Especially then, because what falls away now is not your life. It is the version of it that could no longer hold the magnitude of who you're becoming. If your soul feels even the smallest yes in response to this, claim it in your own way. Whisper to yourself, I am ready for the right rearrangement. Write it down, say it before you sleep, carry it into your decisions. December is not here to destroy you, it is here to reveal you. And as your path shifts, as pieces move, as old maps fade, you will begin to notice something quietly beautiful. For the first time in a long time, your life doesn't just move forward, it feels like it's moving in the right direction. That is the real miracle of this season. Not a single event, not one sudden blessing, but a deep, steady knowing that you are finally walking a path that was always meant to be yours.